name's Zoe Harcombe. I'm author of The Harcombe Diet. Today I'm doing a series of short videos on what I consider to be the biggest myths in weight loss advice. We've come to number one, my pet peeve, and it's the idea that to lose weight all you need to do is to worry about calories. Now this advice has been around since the 1930s and it's been pushed even harder since about the 1980s. Since the 1980s, obesity has tripled. So during the time that we've been pushing this advice harder and harder, clearer and clearer in every piece of dietitian, government, media, advice that's given out to people trying to lose weight, during that time obesity has tripled. If this were an experiment in a laboratory, it would have been abandoned years ago. People would have said, this clearly isn't working, we've got to stop, we've got to give some different advice. So what I want to do in this short video clip is to go into a little bit of detail on this actual calorie theory and how mad it is. I'm going to quote for you from the Food Standards Agency website, but exactly the same advice can be found on the Food and Drug Administration website for the US. To lose 1 pound of fat per week, you need to either reduce your calorie intake by 3,500 a week, or increase your exercise, or do a combination of both. And essentially what the advice says is that you need to reduce your intake by 3,500 calories and you will then lose a pound of fat. Where does that come from, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you, and it does get a little bit complicated, but this is the advice you're being given, so you may as well understand exactly where it's come from. Here goes. Fat has 9 calories per gram. 1 pound is 454 grams. Human fat tissue is approximately 87% lipid, so you take 454 grams of body fat, multiplied by 87%, multiplied by 9 calories per gram, and that comes out at about 3,500. Now I studied maths at Cambridge University, I was very fortunate to be able to do so. I cannot believe anything so mathematical and scientific is being put forward as a direct correlation relationship between your food intake and what needs to happen to lose weight. We all know the first 7 pounds are easier to lose than the last. Calorie theory does not take this into account. We know that men lose weight far more easily than women. The calorie theory doesn't take this into account. It doesn't take into account any of the realities that you will have experienced over perhaps the last 10, 20 years of trying to diet. Let me just give you an interesting example here and use that weight loss advice that is on government websites in the UK and the US. Let's take a guy called Dave. Okay, Dave is currently eating 5,000 calories a day, and let's assume Dave only needs 3,000 calories a day. So Dave follows that advice and says, okay, instead of cutting by 3,500 calories in a week, that's 500 calories a day, I'm going to cut by 1,000 calories a day. I should then lose 2 pounds a week. But will he? Because Dave actually only needs 3,000 calories a day. If he cuts to 4,000 calories a day, let me ask you this. Is he going to lose 2 pounds a week, as the government advice would have you believe, or is he going to gain 2 pounds a week because he's actually still eating more than he really needs? That really is how preposterous this calorie theory is. And if you've been following calorie controlled diets, calorie counted, any other calorie controlled diet under the sun, you've been buying into that theory either deliberately or unknowingly, so you need to know what that theory is all about. Please do not follow that advice. Calories are not the answer. Calories are fuel for your body. You would not try to get from A to B without putting in enough petrol in the car to go from A to B. Your body is exactly the same. Please do your own research, understand what you're being advised and discard it. It is the maddest advice you will ever hear. Thank you for listening.